definitely not a Jew on the Adam Carolla Show. Dateline, West Monroe, Louisiana. A 19-year-old patient was arrested for assault after attacking a nurse with a spork. Definitely not a Jew.
Well, the voice behind Definitely Not a Jew, Mike Dawson in studio doing some news.
Yeah. Well, let's start with once again revisiting the biggest news story of the day. Adam Carolla with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. I thought you might like to know some of your radio contemporaries who also share stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Oh.
It does go back with their old people, like Bing Crosby, I think, is one of them. But we're not going to talk about them. Gary Owens on there. But the ones that you are now in rarefied air with.
If Bonaducci and Lycus are on there, I'm going to kill myself.
We got Rick Dees.
Oh, Dees Grease.
Rodney Bingenheimer.
Oh, Rodney. You know the crazy, you know what Dees... Joe, find the Heine wine bit. Rick Dees' big bit was Heine wine. And... for some reason, it was funny because Heine's also a name for your ass. Yeah. And he'd be like, we've been making Heine wine in the Heine family for over 60 years. And I don't know why anyone ever thought that was funny.
The bar was very low.
All right. Rodney, okay.
You got Casey Kasem in there.
Okay.
We're on the air at the same time. Shotgun Tom Kelly.
Oh, Shotgun Tom.
The great Jim Ladd.
Oh, sure.
Ryan Seacrest.
Ladd just
also
passed.
He did
yeah, Ladd did within the last 6 months, right?
Yeah, that was sad.
Does Ryan Seacrest, like when somebody needs to take over for Wheel of Fortune or whatever, is it just Ryan Seacrest?
It seems to be.
You know what I mean? Like, does he have to be this sort of de facto person for everything all the time?
There are worse things going in society, but one of the bad things is, like, in the effort to be inoffensive, you just wind up with vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, right.
Like the most down the middle, like, well, you can't say anything bad about him, can you? Like,
no.
I mean, ironically, maybe I can, for being so down the middle is offensive in some weird way. Shouldn't you be more charismatic, like we're talking about?
Artistically sort of offensive, but yes.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to see Ryan Seacrest get a break. And then the last one, Mark and Brian. Now,
Mark and Brian.
They're entered basically as a show. You know, they're not entered without each other. They got a star that says Mark and Brian. It's not their last name. So technically, you're better than Mark Thompson and Brian. What's his name?
Oh yeah.
You know, because they need each other.
Oh, what's Brian's last name? I kind of
no idea.
I don't
think
know
about it. All right.
Just not according to a star. It's just Brian.
No Howard
Brian
Stern?
Phelps. Was it Phelps?
No.
Wait. What's the swimmer's Phelps' first name?
Michael.
This is Brian Phelps.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I think so.
I think it was Phelps.
No, Howard Stern not.
Jimmy Kimmel's a radio guy. I don't think that's why he got his star, though.
No.
Then no Dr. Drew either, eh?
Yeah.
Well, somebody's got to campaign for them, and no takers.
All right, on to some news with some great video. A friend of the show, John Force, was in a major drag racing incident on Sunday in Virginia. It was the NHRA Virginia Finals at Virginia Motorsports Park. Watch this and listen. This is now the replay, the slow motion crash, but listen to the audio talking about this and check this out and see how he survived this.
John Force is 73. He's not a young man.
NHRA Virginia Nationals who wanted to share with you this harrowing footage from the first
Blower
round of
blew up.
eliminations in Nitro Funny Car. John Force has suffered one of the most significant crashes of his entire legendary career, passing the finish line at 302 miles an hour, making contact with a concrete guard wall at nearly that speed. We will have full qualifying coverage following this footage. You will tune back in tonight at 5 p.m. Eastern on FS1 to see the full race coverage. We will take you through every inch of what has happened to John Force. He did leave the racetrack conscious, speaking to medical officials.
Hit the guard wall at 302 miles per hour.
Well, you know what they say, some go, some blow. And that one blew.
Why does that happen? I guess that's not an interesting story to somebody who loves cars. Why do those hot rods always blow up? And why is it not fixable in the 21st century?
Hot rods.
Well, whatever you call them. Those are the drag things. When you watch them, like, why
something to do with the location
half the
of the
time it
gas
seems like
tank.
they flip over and catch on fire and everything else.
Well, they got a V8 engine. And a V8 engine in, let's just say, a Mustang or a Camaro, or let's say a Corvette. You got a V8 and a Corvette, and they're like American muscle car. And then you go, well, what's the most tweaked V8 Corvette? And you go, or Mustang. Well, there's a Shelby 500 Mustang with 520 horsepower, and then there's a flat plane crank Chevy V8 Vet. It's got 662 horsepower or something. But these cars have 13,000 horsepower. So they're not at 1,000 horsepower. They're like 10 to 13,000 horsepower. So when you talk about somebody who did something insane to a street car and got it to 1,000 horsepower, this is 10,000 horsepower.
So you're playing God.
You are playing God. Now, I don't even know if they know how much horsepower they have because they can't be hooked to a dyno. A conventional dyno doesn't go up to 10,000 horsepower because why would it? You couldn't dyno an engine at 10,000 horsepower. They'd go up to 1,500 or something like that, and then they would stop because no one would build one. So I don't even think they have dynos that they test these things. But they're like 10,000 horsepower. They don't run off of gasoline. They run off nitromethane. And
that I didn't know. I guess
imagine.
that's the answer.
well,
right?
gasoline's flammable.
No.
Everything's flammable, but they're kind of a bomb, ready to go off.
Is this what we're looking at, which is more like a race car, conventional looking race car? Is that now replaced the thing that I'm thinking of with that really long?
Oh my God, are you Jewish or what?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell they're called.
Dragster versus funny car. Come on, Snake and Mongoose.
Okay, so they still do funny car.
This is a funny
This
car.
is a funny car. The drag.
Woo.
What the hell do I know
It's a
about
sport. Come on.
these? I didn't
Now,
know.
let's
Yeah.
watch this other video. Now, this is as it happened on the broadcast. Apologies for the audio. The audio, somebody recorded it straight off their television. But this is it in real time. This is pretty awesome.
Orr's a funny guy, too.
Here it comes.
He was off to a lead, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This sport attracts nut jobs. I mean, you got to be a little crazy to go 314 miles an hour down the middle of a 2-lane blacktop. But they used to have TV Tommy Ivo was a guy. There was a guy named TV Tommy Ivo. He was a child star, like a good-looking 9-year-old who was in sitcom, Gentle Ben and stuff like that. And at some point started building his own dragsters and bring him out. They had the Mongoose, they had the Snake, they had the Hawaiian, they had the Chi-Town Hustler, they had all these great names, and it was a big deal. And the Snake and the Mongoose was a big deal. One was sponsored by Army, and the other was sponsored by Navy. And
I've seen Ricky Tikki Tavu.
Ricky Tikki Tavu. Yeah. We have Heine Wine, Joe. Can't find it.
You ever done this,
Scrub
Ace?
from the
You ever
internet.
done 300 miles an hour?
No, I've sat in those cars. They're cages, they're hairy, they're scary. I mean, people don't understand that. I've said many times, I'll be fast. Anybody who wants to get in the passenger seat of a supercar, a McLaren, a Ferrari, a $1 million Lamborghini, and that guy throws some revs and drops the clutch or puts on launch control or whatever and takes off. In 2.5 seconds, they'll be up to 60 miles an hour. These guys in 2.5 seconds are 320 miles an
Like
hour.
a rocket
My
ship.
God.
That's the difference between 60 miles an hour and 300 and something in the same time period.
Now, do they have to go through special training to be able to acclimate to those G-forces? Or
No,
they just do it by driving?
They start off in, stock pro stock eliminator, whatever, and then they just keep bumping it. It's what people do with drugs.
Okay.
They start with weed.
And then they chase
They
that
get
dragon.
to fentanyl at some point, but they start with the stepping stone stuff, and then they start moving their way up.
Well, John Force is still in intensive care, but I'll paraphrase a tweet from John Force's daughter, Brittany Force, who was on the show with John a while back.
Yeah.
She basically said, my dad will recover fully. He is the toughest man alive. So don't worry about it.
He's really... God, I'll try to think of who he reminds me of. We have the Heine Wine song. Okay. Is this from Rick Dees, or this is from something else? It's from something else. But all right, we have the Heine Wine song. This is Rick Dees' big bit.
Smells like the 80s.
Tequila and lime. I assume it's tequila.
Down to your local grocery store and grab a little Heine, a 6-pack of Heine dry wine. Well,
All right, it's a bit. You know, I used to do. It's a bit that's it's like a syndicated bit. Other radio stations would do Heine Wine. I would argue that Rick Dees is disqualified if you're just doing bits that other stations did. I used to do, and Jimmy did it. I gotta ask Jimmy. Yeah, Jimmy did it. I did it. We did syndicated bits for loser radio stations that didn't have their own bits. You know, I used to, when I was done with Kevin and Bean in, 1994 and a half or 95, I would go to a syndicated radio place in Sherman Oaks on Ventura Boulevard, and I would lay down like 5 Mr. Burchams. And it was whatever I did that week at Kevin and Bean, but this is before the internet, really. And they give me $75 a bit. That was good for me. And then they just sell them to all the radio stations. And so, like, every once in a while, I'd be in, like, Indiana, and somebody would go, hey, it's Mr. Burcham. And I go, how do you... I was on
It's like the Paul Harvey thing, right?
Right.
But for comedy.
It was syndicated, and they just slug it in, and the DJ'd go, well, it's time for our own Mr. Burcham. It's Thursdays. And they go, how you doing, Mr. Burcham? And then they did press play and do the bit.
Well, just to put a button on the John Force thing, he was a guest on this show with Brittany Force back in 2022 and wound up in the Ace Awards as a nominee with this drop. And this is what John Force, he was really enthralled with you. And this is what he had to say about you.
You're a funny shit.
You're a funny shit.
Yeah. Well, I hope he recovers fully because I love that guy.
By the way, that song sounded like Daniel-san playing at golf and stuff, trying to woo.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to woo her. I wanted to give a quick shout out. We
Right.
just passed the 40th anniversary age.
Sheck, for you.
Karate Kid.
For you mainly.
All Valley.
For you mainly. I was...
Crooked Tournament.
I was skimming through the TV, and I watched a minute of Ugly Betty for some reason. And in this scene, the assistant, I think Ugly Betty, handed her boss man the Starbucks cup, who was sitting behind the desk, and he took it clearly empty. It was clearly empty, just clearly. It was hot coffee with a lid on. She just kind of flung it toward him, and he just grabbed it like there was nothing in it and slammed down. It's like, it was clearly empty. And then I switched channels, and I watched a trailer for the Netflix show with Jessica Alba. God,
Trigger
warning on there, and she's confronting a guy in the bar who has a aluminum can of beer, clearly empty, just kind of waving around like there's nothing. Can we remedy this? You don't have to put beer in it. Put water in it. But put something in it. You know what I mean? Like, what is...
I mean, the props department could do their job, but but you know what? If we're going to assign Blake, you're an actor. Act like that thing has liquid in it.
I don't know that Laurence Olivier himself could take a completely empty cup and give it some heft that it just doesn't have. And I also watch it and I think, what is up with me as a human where I can tell clearly, but it's not, the guy's hand didn't go up or down or anything. They took it, but it just screams there's nothing in it. And the guy at the beer can takes a sip, but there's clearly whatever that thing your body does when there is something in it, he's not doing it. So all I'm saying is, couldn't they do it, or why didn't they do that with Baldwin in his 6-shooter? I'm saying that was the time. That was the time to not have anything in the cup. That's all I'm saying.
Accurate.
All right, but it bugs the shit out of you, right?
Yes. And
I don't even. You know the other one too. It's like the diminutive little woman, and she's coming through the door, and she's got the grocery bag, and everyone loves celery. Everyone in movies, they're all addicted to celery. I've never seen so much celery consumption. The celery growers of America have to be confused. They're like, we barely sell any celery in America, but every single sitcom and every commercial, and every time someone is coming home to talk about life insurance with their husband, always a celery. Hanging out the top. Everyone loves celery, except for no one really eats it, but that's always on the list. They come bounding through. It's clearly styrofoam in there with the celery stalk sticking out the top.
Well, you're so
Give
right.
it some heft.
Yeah, no one has ever come home from the grocery in a movie or a TV show without a French baguette either. That's always
right.
They
Celery and baguette.
Yep.
And they never hear the conversation where, the kids come down, dinner time. Oh, great. Celery and baguettes again. Oh, we're so blessed to have you as a mother. All right, sorry. We all have scurvy because all we eat is celery and baguettes.
Ariana Grande is in trouble again. This time, it's because who she said she would want to have dinner with. That imaginary ultimate dinner date guest. Who throughout history would you have dinner with? Have you ever thought about this?
Sure.
Yeah, everyone. I mean, I don't know. But yeah, I get it. Yeah.
I still don't have an answer. I don't really care.
All right.
Ariana Grande said Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh,
and
ironic.
People are up in arms about it. And I
don't think she's making a joke.
No, I don't think she is, but let's listen to her.
We never have the sound up. That's our thing over here. I don't know why, but we can't hear. So we'll just redo this. The sound part is confounding to us on this program. It always has been. I don't know why.
Well,
all right.
It doesn't happen.
Ironically,
it happens.
The deaf rat guy is going to be.
Always say it happens.
Well, I would say it happens weirdly. Let's just put it this way. If airplanes had an incidence of landing without the landing gear being deployed, the same number we have is queuing up pieces with no sound.
It'd be a lot of
carnage. It'd be a lot of death.
Okay.
A lot of death.
Well, she recently went on
there
we go. Let's see.
Before the Dahmer series, it was in Q&A with fans, with young fans. It was young fans at the time. It was I think it was in between like me being cat and pop stuff. So it was like a younger group. Okay. But it was with a parent. Someone said, if you could have dinner with anyone living or dead, who would it be? And I was like, oh, you're so cute. Who, mom and dad, is it okay if I give the real answer? And they were like, sure, I guess. What's the answer? And I was like, I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer's pretty fascinating. I think I would have loved to have met him. Maybe with a third party or something involved. But I have questions. I have a lot to, I don't know. I would love to. And the parents were like, we'll explain it later, sweetheart. And I was like, so I'll just sing problem and go home.
Now, this is before the big TV show came out, and we really saw inside what a total creep this guy was. I would like to know if she still feels the same way after seeing the Dahmer
I think
thing.
She's making a joke, Dawson. I think you got a blind spot for jokes sometimes. You take these things literally. She's just having one on, as they say. This is not a real thing. She's fucking around, and she's trying to tell a funny story. I'm not saying
she said
she
she's
didn't give
dead
it some
serious
credence. But
the only joke that she says in here is that she jokingly notes that she might need a third party, but whatever. Sure. Hey, no. If I have no problem if she's saying it as a joke. What I'm saying is that the news story is people are upset about this.
Well, that's
making a joke, not for a laugh,
that
but
is
to
the
show.
really stupid thing.
I think right. The purpose of most jokes is to get a laugh, but sometimes people do it to show like you are outrageous, Ariana.
That's what that
the
is.
reaction.
Yeah, well, is she just hungry for airtime now? Is that why it's coming back out? Why? I don't understand.
Well, she's recounting a story, right?
Yeah.
And she's telling a story like you getting in front of like when somebody goes, I was in front of a bunch of parents and it was for the Little Miss Tyke competition, but I'm sorry, I had to tell them their kids were homely. And then everyone starts going, whoa, I'm sorry, I know it's not what you want to hear, but then some homely kids. And then the story says, Adam says kids are ugly or something. She was recounting a story where using some hyperbole where she was getting into it with some people about something. I mean, I would
it would be ridiculous if you ever went up to somebody who's a self-proclaimed pizzaola and was like, you should put cottage cheese in that calzone.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it was, what was it? Provolone?
I do not put ricotta in calzones.
It's way more outrageous to say it's cottage cheese.
Yeah, it's Velveeta, cottage cheese, and yes.
All right. Well, listen, I didn't stand by the banning. My banning part of you being banned from Kimmel's was the buy day.
Yeah,
I'm a purist.
It's nice that that's lived for so long.
Yeah.
What screen my Chargers on? We'll let you know
Who
when they
else
play
can say
next
that?
week.
Do you remember when Sean Penn was married to Madonna?
Yeah, I do.
Look who's changing the subject.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was the news. Apparently, there was a long-standing rumor that he hit Madonna with a baseball bat, and he's finally denied that. I never heard that rumor. Did you?
No, I never heard that one either. But, I think I feel like Sean Penn is capable of many things. I don't know if one of them is hitting Madonna with a baseball bat. I can say on a list of notable Americans that you wouldn't really care if they were hit by a baseball bat, she would be right above Joey Buttafuoco. You know what I mean? In the terms of if you just had a power rankings of Americans hit by a baseball bat, and you thought, okay, well, let's put the guy who's on TV and he's shilling for the tunnels for towers. That guy's trying to raise money for the homeless veterans or whatever. You'd go, I wouldn't like it if that guy was hit with a baseball bat. And then you go, how about Mike Lindell, the My Pillow guy? And you go, all right. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of range of people you would care. Because there are other people, what if you said...
We had a vote on who was the recipient of the bat beating, we'd be more into it, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if you say, look, I took a baseball bat and I hit my wife with it, people go, that's outrageous. And then you go, my wife was Madonna. They'd go, was she getting mouthy? She didn't try to sing into a brush or something, did she?
Yeah.
She'd bring over her backup dancers to
Further away we get from this one. I know people were like, wait, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift? Further away we get Sean Penn, the guy who flies off to Haiti to help them. And Madonna? They were a hot ticket item, eh? And by the way, if Madonna got hit by a baseball bat swung by Sean Penn, I suspect we would have actually. Right. There might have been some damage as a result.
And
or does Sean Penn have the weakest swing in the history of people?
Swing.
And if that was a rumor, I mean, we certainly would have heard that rumor. But Madonna had said that Sean has never tied me up, physically assaulted me. And she added that he is a caring, compassionate individual. This came out after Penn filed a $10 million defamation lawsuit against Empire creator Lee Daniels, who likened him to a wife beater in a Hollywood Reporter interview. But I guess Sean's doing okay.
All right, let's do one more.
Well, one more. There are 9 phrases that mentally strong people never say.
I'm interested in this because
you probably know half of them.
I have heard from incompetent people that they've done their best over and over again in the face of insane incompetence. I've heard a lot of, not feeling it today or not up to it. We're creating a culture of people that just constantly explaining what's wrong with them so they can't do stuff. Listen, I am predisposed to hate these people. As I've said, I'm being upfront. I was raised by a mother who was either sick, felt something coming on, or just got over something. Mm-hmm. All viable reasons not to drive me to Teddy Lewis's house in Van Nuys. Those were her only 3 modalities. She either physically had something, just got over something. By the way, you just getting over something means you're okay, number one. Number two, is that your state in perpetuity then? You just got over something? Oh, that'll go on for the next several months? Like, you got over it. Now it's time to move on.
I'm starting to think that maybe you're right. Maybe we did have very different mothers.
Possibly.
No.
All right, give
Mentally
me some.
strong people never say, I am how I am.
Oh, that's
it
the
is
other
what
one,
it
too.
is.
That's who I am.
That's just me.
It's me.
All right.
Can't fault that.
Next one, they never say, why me?
Right. They also they talk about, like, that's how I feel. If I feel, then I got to be right because my feelings are right because those are my feelings.
This is your fault.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't care what anyone thinks.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There's an interesting one. Failure isn't an option. Mentally strong people instead say, if this doesn't pan out, what's our plan B?
Yeah, a better news guy.
That's smart. That's your problem, not mine. You did go through these news stories, though, and pick these as the ones you wanted to talk about.
I did not.
Because I received an email that said, these are the stories Adam wants.
I did. The Ariana Grande story I've never heard in my life.
Interesting.
That's erroneous. There's a lot of erroneous emails floating around this place. That much I can tell you. But this story, wait, what were the first ones? Sean Penn I wanted.
Uh-huh.
Ariana Grande I never heard of.
John Force I found on my own.
That's good. I never heard of it, but I'm glad you did.
Okay.
And was there one other one?
No, we're into this.
I like this one. This is the one. Now, what are the ones beneath it? Because I may have picked those out. Let's see.
This story is 4 pages long.
Oh, okay. Well, that's too much. But I am very. When people just go, oh, look, I could never. I'm not. Okay, I'll put it up there with this. People that talk about driving like it's taxing. You know what I mean? Like I'll go, I'm going to drive to Vegas and then I got to do a show. You're going to do a show after driving to Vegas? Yeah, after sitting in air conditioning and listening to Sirius XM's hits of the 80s or Yacht Rock. Yes, after that in an automatic car with automatic transmission and cruise control. Yes, after that I shall stand on stage with a Bud Light and tell jokes.
Yeah,
I can do it.
Shouldn't you go in the day before?
Go
get
in the day before and get your rest.
Right.
For what? I'm not doing anything. Like everybody with the driving, you got to pull over and take a nap. Life is not, modern day life is really not that difficult. You shouldn't talk about and I don't want to hear how food makes you feel. I mean, I eat the red meat, yeah, and then the wheels come off the wagon. You get that whole red meat downer thing, and then you have some dessert, and you get that sugar high, come crashing up, then that flattens out. It's just food. You're fine. You don't need to know how it makes you feel.
Yes, it's been overstated what the effects of Mexican food are on you. Like, I think you're going to be all right. You're not going to.
I did that show, Hot Ones, ate 25 wings with Scoville rating 4 billion. And I got home an hour later, and I would have no idea what I've done. If you would have said, if you washed it from my memory and said, and go to the bathroom the next day, or walk around, do whatever you want, or leaving the studio, I would have no idea that there was anything in me.
You know what's a preemptive thing that people say a lot that is like, oh, I'm only good at subjects that I care about. If I'm passionate about it, I'll know a lot about it. But if I don't care about it, I'm not going to know anything about it. Like
that one fits into
you're
number
incapable
one.
of ingesting information. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
that's your problem, not mine. Mentally strong people don't say that.
Never said that to a human.
Here's another one. This one's interesting. But what if? So that's another thing mentally strong people don't say. But what if? What if it doesn't work? You failed.
Yeah.
And then the last one is I'll get started later when I feel like
Yeah, it's a lot of when I feel like it.
Yeah.
Not into whatever it is you're supposed to do.
No, you forgot the one off the list there. Put
What
some
does it have to
ricotta.
do about calzones?
Yeah.
Right.
In that calzone. All right, Dawson, a bang-up job as per usual.
Thank you very much. Join myself and Adam Carolla in Carpinteria on July 27th at the Alcazar Theater. That's Santa Barbara County. Come out and join us. Get your tickets at adamcarolla.com.
All right, I'm going to be in New York at Levittown with Bill O'Reilly. Coming up this Friday and Saturday, doing a bunch of shows over there. You go to amcarolla.com for all the live shows. The podcast for Shaq -3 with our friend Kevin Hench, and then Extra Points with our friend Sarah Tiana. Or I should say Sarah Tiana. I don't know if I screwed up her first name a little there, but she's a delight as well. There's DFG. Shoot him at Twitter at Def Frat Guy. There's Ramin, Setoodeh, and check out Apprentice and Wonderland. Until next time, this is Adam Carolla for all those people saying mahalo.